Hi, everybody. Welcome to Untapped. My name is Maureen, the even the queen, the even the princess, whichever one you prefer. Welcome to Untapped Azania. I do not chill alone. I chill with the one and only.
Mash day.
How you doing, Mesh
Yo, my bad.
D?
I'm just all over the place. I'm fresh and I'm fresh and my fresh just get fresher.
And what's the mood? What's the level?
Diamonds in production. Yo, the pressure this week, man. I'm not even like happy.
Yeah, I know the pressure this week.
Yeah, it was pressuring, but
Yeah.
we glowing greater than the pressure.
No, I can attest to that, right? The pressure has been pressuring. So welcome to Untapped again. If you're new here, please subscribe. Let us know what you've been tapped into so we can tap into that as well. If you're returning, please give us your thoughts. Let us tap into also what you've been tapped into. Let's have a conversation. Follow us on our Instagram. Mesh, do you have TikTok? No, you don't have TikTok. Instagram, Facebook.
Take a chance.
His real name on Facebook and your handles will show over here. But anyway, let's get into it, my dog. What have you been tapped into?
I need to share a thought, a sentiment.
Okay.
Right? I feel like, thoughts, I've had many thoughts about like leaving the country. Like if an opportunity presented itself that made sense, I'd move abroad,
Okay.
right? Like, and this is when I was younger, maybe like 19-year-old, 20 year, but like more the more recent version of me. So say probably from like 3-4 years ago, I've conformed less to sort of that train of thought, and I'm more like, yo, this is my country. I love South Africa. South Africa's full of opportunities. This is the best country in the world, no doubt, right? For especially for a black person, I can't think of a better country. And like let's fix our problems, like be part of the solution, all that jazz, right? But this week, something incentivized me to just not care about South Africa anymore because of how, when a country works, when you visit a country, right? Even if it's just like, say, a small independent state, like maybe Hong Kong, like the reason why it functions is because everything works, right? Like you're in the streets, it's like the train system is quick. The transportation system is quick. There is like people aren't getting robbed. It's like the justice system works. Things just work, right? In South Africa, there are a lot of things that just don't work. Like, especially from a public services standpoint. Like, if you think of, I was in a situation, right, where an institution, a company owed me something, right? And I was like, so obviously if you're in a dispute with someone and you're not coming to some sort of agreement, you need to involve the law, right? So I went to get a letter of demand. To get that, I need to obviously go through the law. I need to go to a small claims court if it's not an exorbitant amount, right? Cool. Bro, did I not get there? I had to go to the Randburg court because that's the closest to me. Did I not get there around, let's say, 10 past 12? Né? I get there around 10 past 12, 20 past 12-ish. I'm in line, right? I'm still in line at 1. Guess what happens?
Not the machines going.
No, they don't go off. It's one person working. They need to go out for lunch. So they just stop working at 1 and they say, I'll be back at 2. So now life stopped. Bro, I got there 10 past 12. I need to wait until 2. Right? Cool, I get that. And then when I was done, so I'm obviously also using Uber because I'm Ubering because I need to get to, when I've got my letter of demand, when I go make my demand, I need to go there with the cops, right? So as soon as I'm done, I go to the police station, the Randburg police station, which is like the neighbor. Get there and they're like, no, the closest police station to where you live is Sandton police station, right? But like Randburg court is the closest court. So I'm like, okay. And then cool. And then I had to take an Uber from the Randburg police station to the Sandton police station. But I get to the Sandton police station probably around past 3, right? And then I just get there and like everyone's just doing their own thing.
Like, no one is asking like, hey,
yeah, bro. And the thing is like they have this big sign where it's like this place is a safe place for LGBTQ, and I'm just like, nah, dog. Like it's like I felt scared being there. Like damn,
at the police station.
Yeah, it's like it's such a mess, right? Eventually, this lady's passing. That's a police officer, and I'm like, "Can you help me?" She's like, "Yo, what's up?" I'm like, "I have a letter of demand." Like, where is it? I tell her. She's like, "Okay, I'll help you." And then I go chill. She's gone. And I even asked her, like, where should I chill? She was gone, bro. Then I just decided to go chill somewhere for a good, 40 minutes? And then eventually some other, are you the one that's supposed to go to, like, yeah, let's, like, the van's waiting for you outside. Let's go. And then, bro, when I get there, the cops I'm with, now, like, bro, I have a letter of demand, bro. And, like, it wasn't going to be granted to me if I didn't provide proof. The cops are like, yo, and part of my demand in the letter of demand is not just what I paid for, it's also that like I need to get invoice and receipts because I didn't get that as well. I had been asking since the day of like everything being done. Like I probably made the mistake of paying before I got that, but I was busy when everything was. So I trusted this person, like paid everything, and I'm like, you're gonna send me every other thing, like all the costs to a T that you told me. And then they like I don't get that. So it's part of the demand, like invoice and receipts in addition to my product. And then the cops start listening to the other guy's story. They're like, hey, we don't pick sides. And then, bro, did the cops not like just leave me there eventually? Like before I got what belonged to me, and they're like, yeah, they made the decision that, yeah, if this guy is saying that you still owe him more, even if he didn't give you invoice and receipts, then he needs to go to the court to get his own letter of them. I'm like, yes, that makes sense.
But right now,
and then they're like, yeah, and he needs to give you what belongs to you. They leave, right? They leave me there. And then as soon as they leave, and my phone's switching off, so I'm also trying to get someone to charge my phone so I can call a friend to come pick me up, right? Because the cops leave. They're not going to drop me off at home. And then, dude, I then asked to get my phone charged by the officers there. They charged my phone. And then as soon as my phone's being charged, I go back to the guy, like, give me what belongs to me. He's like, nah. I'm like, shit, I'm in for something now. I'm inside. Now so it's like 4. Fight. Now it's like 4, half 4-ish. I'm like, nah, I can tell I need to get the cops again, but I need to get a different set of cops because the 2 cops I was given are just. And then my phone's, okay, cool. I managed to call a friend. I managed to call my sister. I managed to call the cops, right? Cool. My friend gets there, we're having a conversation. He's having a whole different conversation about a dispute he had. And he's like, bro, this other time I had a similar situation. Yeah, I had a similar situation. And the guy was with his wife, and I'm telling them I'll burn everything. And I'm like, yeah, dog, this is how people that like you make you feel. Like, cool. And at that point, we're just waiting for the cops. Sorry, what are you about to say?
No, I was saying like at that point, like, I get why people fight for their things.
Yeah,
because
like,
you
bro,
came
what
with
the
cops.
fuck?
Also, you came with the cops and they didn't help. So now it's like you're on your own.
Yeah,
like,
so now at that point, I'm struggling to get a hold of the cops. It's like past 4, it's getting to 5. But I haven't chowed since morning, because I usually have my first meals around 1.
Yeah.
So I thought I was going to be done by the court. Like when I left home around 11-ish to get to I was like, I haven't chowed. So now it's like almost 5, right? And then my friends, we're waiting on the cops. So what happened was I couldn't get a hold of the cops. Like the Santon direct line wasn't going through, right? So eventually I get through. I try Bramley. I try Douglasdale. All of them are not going through. I try Alexandra. These are police station direct lines, bro. And I'm also realizing other things about life. Like if someone's in danger, like what's happening? I tried Douglasdale. I tried Bramley. I tried Alex. I tried Midrand. Then it went through, right? Midrand goes through. I tell them my situation. I'm like, yo, the Santon police station let me down. Can you guys help me? They're like, yo, unfortunately, that's not our jurisdiction. Call them again through 10111, and then they're going to send a different van there. I called through 10111. The person I called, Like, so I call them, I tell them the whole situation. Like, yeah, we're sending a van through. And then eventually someone calls me back and they like, yo, you just called about a situation. Go to the police station. And I'm like, dog, I'm saying I am at the workshop and they're also like, I'm at like where my problem is and they're about to close. And it's like, it doesn't make sense. Just like get a van here. And then he's like, I'm not too sure if you're going to be able to get help. Right. And then cool. He hangs up. Right. And then like now I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, let me try Gallo Manor because it's also like, at least it's in our jurisdiction. Doesn't go through. Try Santon again. Doesn't go through. And then I call Midrand and I'm like, now I pester them. I'm like, yo, the 10111 route that you told me, they call me back and they're telling me I need to go to the station. Like, could you please help me? Like, I'm telling you about the situation. And then the lady's like, okay, let me give to one of my higher ups. I talk to that man. Like, that's the one person that was like
Do you remember his name?
I don't.
Oh,
I think like everyone I don't. I wish I even remembered the names of the ones that let me down.
Ones.
But I remember faces. So, dude, he's like, I'm gonna call them directly. Like, I'm gonna call them directly through our lines, and I'm gonna get back to you. Just give me a number. I gave him. Now at that point, I gave up. I'm like, he's probably not gonna.
Happen.
And I'm chilling with my homie, and then he calls back like after a good fight. He's like, yo, they're coming back just now, right? He's like, they're gonna come through, and then he's like, I think he tells me that they were changing shifts, which makes me think of something else. Like, dude, so if you're stuck in an altercation around 5 p.m. or whenever they change shifts, then it's a whole mess. Like, why are cops changing shifts all at the same time? So, like, it's like they're
some of them should be staying.
Yeah, like some people need to be changing at 3 gradually, bro. So it was just like I was like getting a pulse of the system, right? Like from going through the courts earlier that day, like everything. Yeah. And then eventually these new cats pull up, say almost to like 6-ish, like past 6, like 10 past 6-ish. They get there. Yeah, then they call the guy out. He's like, nah, the way this guy is talking to me, they're like, hey, dog, leave that. Like, the other cops told you that if you have a problem with him, go and like go to the courts, just give him what belongs to. And that's how the whole situation was kind of solved, right? But it's like, all of that, like, I was just like, I don't want my daughter to grow up, and I don't want my son. I don't want to, I don't, like, this system. Yeah. Like, it's not a system that I can't fix it.
Something that
like,
could have been so
beyond
easy
me.
to do.
It's beyond me.
It's within the system in itself.
What does when the Minister of Justice wakes up every day, or the Minister of Police, like, in terms of just innovating our system, like, what does their role entail? You get me? So that was what stressed me out very much this week. I'm trying to like get over it. Yeah.
So there's a lot in what you're saying.
There's so much.
There's so many things to unpack. But I made up like 2 points from what you said. The first one is we're all leaders of ourselves, first and foremost. Before you lead anybody else, before you lead a household, before you lead a community, a province, anything, you're a leader of yourself. And the responsibility is to make sure that the things around you work. If you function, if you personally work, if you're healthy, you take care of what you eat, you run, you take care of, you bath, you dress well, you make sure your clothes are clean. That's managing self, right? You as the person. If you make sure your household, right, your apartment, your house is clean, there's food, there's lights, there's water, the garden is clean, it's done well, right? You're leading your household. If you make sure your street where you live, like you pick up the papers, you throw in the stuff where it's supposed to be, that street, that's you leading the street, and so on and so forth. Like that builds up into everything. Now, if you struggle to lead yourself, it's very difficult for you to lead your household. Very difficult for you to lead your community. Very difficult to lead in a bigger scale. And the problem starts there. Our own value of ourselves, I guess it's almost attached to a lot of things. It's almost like when I see guys peeing on the highway, for example, and I get you're pressed, but bruh. Or sometimes even just like on the streets, like just random on the street, somebody parks and they just start peeing there. Like leading yourself, having that self-love and respect, if you don't have that, very difficult to give it to somebody else, very difficult to give it to your community, very difficult to give it at a broader sense. So I think that's where the problem is. It's within
the
ourselves.
Fact that you can't hold on to a piece of paper because you can't find a bin until you find a bin to throw it in, and you decide to throw it on the floor. It speaks volumes.
Right. And it speaks about how you feel about the environment that you're in. You do not care. Right? So if that person has to be an employee and goes into where you were, like trying to get your letter of demand, and they work there, they don't care. They don't care about themselves. They don't care about their surroundings.
Exactly.
They don't care about their
additional
community.
Context, like for that person specifically, right? Do you know how many people were left? Just me and another lady. Even the lady I was with was like, we get that she's about to go to lunch, but it's not a line of like 28 people. It's just 2 people.
Right.
You get me?
Right.
Like, and all you're doing is, it's like you could give them the letter to script and say, when I come back, then like whatever they need to write or whatever you need to inform them, and say, when I come back, we just fast track the process. Like,
exactly. Start filling in forms, start telling the story,
whatever.
Something.
Like, just let me start.
So that feeds into like the higher ups or people that are custodians of the system, right? It's like, if those guys do not care, who is the guy who is just there to put a stamp on your paper, right? It's a systematic thing that we have taken, and we've put people in certain positions that they do not deserve because that person is maybe a political cadre or something, they're connected or whatever. That's a different conversation. But that thing is a deeper self thing that we have.
Remember
and it
through
filters
the wire
in.
chat we had?
T.
Through the wire chat, and just referencing the Bible. Like when I was saying, the watchword for the year at church was 1 Corinthians 16:14, which is like, for everything you do in love. You know, like, if you don't feel in love with this process of filling in this application form for like your next gig, don't do it. Like, everything you do, like, do it with love. If there's no love, if you're about to go fetch your niece from school because your sister asked you to like go fetch your niece because she's too busy, like, go there playing her favorite song so that when she gets into the car, Birds of a Feather by Billie Eilish is playing. You know, so like, do it with love. Don't be pissed that like you got like it messed you up because you were supposed to do something that doesn't even matter. So it made me think of, like, what you're saying is making me a reference, like, just that, like, how so many people struggle with interacting with other people because what they're even doing, they don't even like that much.
And I guess it's also like that a part of you leading yourself. It's like, if you're in a place where you don't like, and South Africa is a very, like, it's difficult. People don't have jobs. People don't have, like, the jobs that they want. It's a very common thing, right? But it's like, even in doing the thing you do not like, you kind of have to try and fall in love with some part of that thing for you to be able to deliver it. But you can't do that if you don't lead yourself well.
You see? So if you don't lead yourself well. So like Yasin Bey referencing Ye versus 50 Cent, right? At a point, like, it was Ye versus 50 Cent, and who's gonna drop the better album?
It was so creative. It was, Good Morning. Graduation is like, it's like a thriller moment that people actually appropriately appreciate, even for this. And they I always feel like they try to hate on it because he really sold 1 million records in a day. It kept the record industry like floating for at least the next 5 years with that, and it helped them transition into this whole streaming model. Because they was sitting on cash. Who performs like that? It wasn't Coldplay. It wasn't U2. It wasn't any other genre. It was Kanye West with a beautifully, cleanly produced album. There was pure hip hop. Barry Bonds. Like, what are we even talking about? This shit was out of control. From an observer's point of view, for me, it felt like a referendum. This side or this side is going to determine the cultural direction for this group for at least the next 5 years, if not the full generation. And in my opinion, that's what Kanye West's Graduation album did. It opened up the paradigm creatively for what could be viewed as groundbreaking and inventive, and also having big scale. And there was no one at that type of pop culture scale who was being that creative, you know, and particularly in hip hop. So it's a big moment for the culture.
Wow.
Kanye had a listening session that was in a movie theater. I'll never forget it. And what Kanye did is that you came into the movie theater, he had programs for like all of the songs and some of the lyrics and all that. So caramel popcorn and edited visuals from anime movies that he liked and played that in sync to the music. The moment that he did that and the moment that I left there, I was like, Kanye wins. Right. I don't care what 50 Cent got in the tank. He is not beating this album at this time. It's just no way.
All that, right? But you've got a Ye that's willing to rap through the wire, bro. This man just came out of a car accident. And it's like who wins here is like inevitable.
Yeah.
Like this man, like his mouth is shut.
And it's like even
rapping.
if right now he doesn't win, in the long term you can tell what
like this guy is different, bro. He's just built different. So yeah, what was the second? Yeah,
the second thing is there's been a trending story of this guy who doing what's this? He's an actor and he's been saying he's singing some song on social media on TikTok, and turns out that he was married to another actress, and she told a story about how he was abusive to her. And I somehow stumbled upon this story on David Mashavela's pod, and she was telling the entire story, and she's like how she saved herself in certain situations was that a friend of hers told her that when you live in an area, right, when you just move into an area, and because you're an actress and you're famous, people know you, go to your nearest police station, go find kind of the highest person who works there, introduce yourself, get their number, understand how they function, like kind of make friends in the area, make sure people know you, that you stay there, like the police know you stay there, this is your house and whatever. So that in a situation where you actually need help, you have
the direct line. I think that's in general, not even just
line.
Celebrity.
Yeah,
because I saved that direct line. I'm like, if this constitutes privilege, I'm saving this number and I'll call this person if I'm in a predicament.
But that is where the whole infiltration of corruption on Jandaziatanjana and, let's take care of each other.
It's already a mess. Just the thought of it is messy.
Because why do I have to know the highest person in this place for me to get some service? It's supposed to be like received by anybody else.
The justice system doesn't work for the poor guy. Like when I'm thinking about everything I had to do, I have the money to go from Randburg, like get an Uber from Randburg police station. Yeah. It's like maybe because they're taxis. I don't know how the taxis, but it's like so many, you have so many. What if someone doesn't even have the taxi money? Like them, because like the fact that they got to a court, now they have access to a police station. Like that police station should be able to help that person,
even if it means
transporting them to the police station. But it's like this, like the taxpayers' money is for the state to function. Yeah. Right? So like help the individuals.
And to take care of the people that it needs
help
over.
The individuals, bro. Like our system is flawed in so many ways. Like I had a friend that went to attend an expo. Like I forgot what it's called. But it's like this big expo. It's like the best products, and like every year it happens, and like the best. It's in China, and I was like, dog, what's the highlight of like your trip? And they didn't tell me about a tech product they saw. They didn't tell me about a new innovation. They said everything works.
Fair. Nah, I can't. Nah. I've let things.
Can everything just work? Can I trust that it will work, bro?
Just work.
I'm doing my part at the individual level. Can it just work, bro?
But also then, like, it's also important to take note of the guys that actually do what they do.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Like yes,
the guy that actually helped you.
People are working.
If you had his name, you could have been like, yo, that guy helped me.
People are working, like, bro. Like this is not to say like people. Sometimes it's also about like people just being in the flawed system.
True.
You know?
To the point where they've been working with people, but they're not leading themselves well. Have you ever been in a situation where you're trying to change something in your life or in your personal life, and your friends or your family or your people close to you are like, yeah, what are you trying to do? You think you're better than us. You think you're like this and that and the other. And it's like, no, I'm trying to change myself. So maybe if you get into a system in you're trying to do well, and everybody around you is like, what the hell? Like, who are you trying to be? Are you trying to get a raise? Are you trying to get a better job? And sure, that person that's actually doing
better.
You think you know better. But that's like, sure, that person that is trying to do better in that space should technically be a leader. Because leadership is not your position. It's not the thing that's handed to you, your title. It is how you lead yourself. You cannot lead other people if you're unable to lead yourself. Point blank.
My dad was a primary school principal, right? And he said that like when he's retired now, but like he said that like one of the very important things he would judge people based off when they came into his office was their shoes. So like if your shoes weren't clean, it would be like, and he told me this story because I had to polish my shoes every Sunday, right? At least, like, I get that you can just rub it up in the morning, but it's like on Sunday, you're going to chill and you're going to polish your shoe. But like there was a day where I was polishing my shoes and he was just telling me about the importance of just having clean shoes. And he's like, every time it's like, dude, if you can't manage your shoes, how can I trust you with something like, you're the head of the SGB, you want to manage a project with... How can I trust you if your shoes aren't clean? So, and for someone else that could come across as petty, but it's like, because it's not, I'm not saying your shoes are worn out. I'm just saying they're clean.
Clean. They show no one at the togomera in some way.
You made an effort.
You made an effort. Nah, I hear you, bruh.
So yeah, but also just on the moral chat, right? And like higher ups, my second untapped. I mean, the second thing I've been tapped into is Trump.
Oh,
and someone was like, literally hit me on my private line about how I speak about Trump too much on this pod. But his inauguration was recent, can't help.
Yes.
Meme coin. Okay. I felt like the moral aspect and just is questionable. Like how an individual, like say we dropped an untapped meme coin, right? And people in the untapped community invested in that coin, and then we basically dump on them, which means like when it goes up, we sell at the top and then it crashes. I feel like that's unethical. There's so many other things. If you're going to say you're going to create something for your community, there are so many beautiful things you can create for your community. I think
I hear you.
Trump's net worth accelerating by over 80% in a matter of 48 hours because he launched a meme coin that he says is not for the purpose of accumulating wealth. It morally, really is. I just think it's pathetic.
Hey, dude, I feel like at the end of the day,
on top of that, his wife also launched her own, like a few days later.
There was a time. Sorry, I'm gonna take a little bit of an off ramp, but it ties back. It's like there was a time when I think Kylie or Kendall, one of the Kardashians, I'm not sure. I don't know if she asked for this, but her supporters were trying to help her to become the richest influencer, or to get her to 1 billion, something to that effect. They literally donated, gave her money for her to get to 1 billion status. And it's like, bro, again, to the lead yourself conversation, it's like, and your surrounding, there's probably a charity in it. They're actually doing great work. Like we went to an orphanage, and we were just there.
They need all the help you can give them.
We were just
50 rand, all the help you can give them. They need it.
70 rand.
It's like it's gonna make a crazy
true
difference.
Yeah. Because either to get a child formula or something it's tangible.
Like for real,
it's tangible, and it's like. People are just
nah.
But it's again, lead yourself. If you care about your household, if you care about your community, if you care about the people around, if you actually know the people around you, it's going to be very difficult for you to give mutane and mudibi when you know 2 streets down there's a child who's not going to school because they don't have school shoes. and you can go and Spa is doing like a promotion. This is not a promo, but they're actually doing good work. You buy groceries, you get a voucher to get a child school shoes for $70. If
You see?
right, if it's gonna be very difficult for you to take that $70 and give it to somebody if you know. But the thing is, we do not know. We're not invested in our communities, and we complain when they fall apart. We complain when things don't get done, when it's dirty in your street. You're like, I'm not going to be the person that takes care of this trash. Mara, it's your community. You live there. But don't even come visit you. They come there where you are. So it's...
If I was hiring, and one of the requirements, or actually one of the pointers I have, it's like it's got a whole list of things, but one of the pointers I have is preference will be given to black men. Do you think that would be contentious?
Yeah.
Say an application exactly the same, and the very same point is preference will be given to a black woman. Do you think they'd be contention?
I think it will be a different type of contention, but I think there would still be a level of...
Not to the extent.
Not to the same extent.
And it's embedded on the fact that the underlying assumption is that the guy is less marginalized than the black girl.
Yes. Because it's on the basis that the black girl is on the bottom of the food chain. The guys are a little bit higher, but we're all black.
There's the I, right, in that. And the I is a black man, right? So it's like it doesn't matter who's doing that, right? I'm doing that. It's like the underlying, like no one's gonna think, no man, who's hiring? Oh, it's a black man. Like probably why there's a gender lens in his criteria is because there's been a gender lens that's marginalized him. Let's move on.
Okay. Talk your things. I don't know if I should even get into my things that I've been tapped into because it's so wild. But I actually think...
Let's go in.
I actually think let's just get into something else because,
doesn't matter as much.
It doesn't really matter as much. There's so many things. Okay. So the first thing I want to actually talk about is I saw this quote this week. Yauri, if you defend your limitations, you get to keep them.
What's your favorite quote?
What you're not changing, you're choosing.
What you're not changing, you're choosing.
You got something
That's
in
kind
life you complaining about and you're not changing it. Could be your relationships, your body, your health, your job. You're choosing.
And this kind of ties to something that I've been thinking about.
Who said that?
I don't know. I saw it as a quote somewhere. It's
And it just stuck.
But it's a quote. I even wrote it on my notes so that I can remember that. And that is like so profound because it's like whatever limitations you have in your mind, this is why I can't do something. This is why I can't be a better human being to society. This is why I can't help this person who's in this situation. This is why I can't do better for myself, right? You get to keep that. It's valid and it's valid for you. It's true. That becomes your ceiling. It's done. Nobody else has the responsibility to convince you otherwise. And honestly, if that's what you've believed about yourself, now it gets me into this thing, Yauri, and we had this conversation before. Yauri, I have a gripe with black men specifically. I feel like black men don't take themselves serious enough.
Do you know, like me getting ahead of 2025 was like when we had that conversation because it was so deep. Like you went as far as saying, I have a gripe with you.
Yes. I have a gripe with a lot of black men around me because I feel like you guys don't take yourself seriously enough. And it's not because of the limitations are there. Very aware of the limitations. Very aware of the things in your life that could stop you from being an excellent person. But I feel like just a little effort. You guys like just do not do like what you're saying. just making sure that your shoes are clean.
Yeah.
That is not. It's not a resource. If you say to yourself, "Yeah, I can get my shoes to be clean because I come back from work late and there's a lot of..." You get to keep that. That becomes your ceiling. Now you bring your son into this world. Your son decides, "Oh, my dad didn't do this. I've never seen it happening." You're creating a whole limitation for him as well. Now, I feel like you have a responsibility to take yourself a little bit more seriously. Do the little things. Run, take a walk, go to therapy if you can. Get counseling. Those limitations that you have placed in your head that black men don't do this, black men don't go into those spaces, I'm a black man, I don't want to do this. Get out of that. That's your limitation. You're limiting yourself from opportunities that could, like, I see guys that I'm like, you have so much potential.
You're so laid back.
You're so laid back. You're like, yeah, if things are supposed to happen in my life, they will happen. Do you know how many people are not supposed to be in spaces, but they're there? Do you know how many women that are single mothers that live in shacks, that leave the house at 5 a.m., it's scary, it's dark, but they do it? What's stopping you as a man to do the same? Do you know what I mean?
I hear
like,
you.
Chilling in the corner and watching out for, anybody can do that. There's even a stat that came out with the matric results, and they said that 51% of women got more bachelor passes than the guys. And I can promise you, I went to high school with guys that I felt like, you have so much potential if you just sit down and study. Even if you don't study for like 5 hours of your day. If you were just to study like an hour a day, you could change that 50% to a 55, to a 60. But it's like, oh, I'm chilling with my boys. I'm gonna and the shame, that's your limitations. That's what is gonna get you. So that's my gripe, and that's my rant.
I hear you. I'm not gonna even rebuttal
That's
that.
my
I'm just gonna add to it. Because it's making me think of imposter syndrome. Like our generation is like, hey, we like throwing that word a lot, right? And I was thinking about how a lot of situations, I've experienced imposter syndrome. Like when I think in hindsight, right? I'm like, you were bound to. And you knew you were bound to from the word go. It's like, what's the likelihood that you will have a gripe with belonging if it's somewhere where you've never wanted to actually be? You get me? Because I'm not saying, Uri, like there are places that you want to be and perhaps imposter syndrome. And I'm not saying imposter syndrome is bad in its entirety. But I'm saying that like there are so many situations where people go into spaces where they're like, it's back to that chat I was having about like wanting to change spaces that are just like, they've got a stench in and of themselves, right? And there's nothing wrong with saying I can be the change, but it's like you need to acknowledge that you can go there and that imposter syndrome looks like that because like you're trying to go into a space.
It does feel like it's wrong.
Yeah.
I hear you, but then again, I feel it's like if you're conscious of that, right? Another thing, read books. Guys, let's read, let's educate ourselves. Because the thing is this, T, if you get into a space and you are able to identify, this place, T, the reason I might be feeling like this, or you are able to unpack that for the reason I feel like this is because this place, it's just not for me. Then you can have the mind, let me create something that's for me then. If I'm interested in this thing that looks like this, but this does not fit me, what would make this thing, me reach this thing that I want to reach, but in a way that's fitting for me, that's suitable for me. But that takes effort. That takes effort.
Yeah. It's not easy. It's not going to be easy. Yeah.
It's not going to be easy. Even identifying that space is like that, you're feeling like that because of that, it takes effort. Because you might as well just stop at the fact that, oh no, I just don't feel comfortable in this place. I feel weird. I feel anxious. You can stop there. But to take it a little bit further and be like, actually, why do I feel like this in this place? That's like you are interrogating yourself. You hold yourself accountable to your thoughts. You know what I mean? Like you have integrity within yourself and you trust yourself. But even that trust doesn't just come to you. That trust is it's small little steps that you have to do. If you told yourself, guys, 6:30, I'm going to wake up.
You know, when someone's grappling with like a shift, a spiritual shift in their life, and then they also, and it's like the society knows that this person was a certain way. So it's like they feel the need to like tell society, yo, I've changed, I'm no more this person. And then the people are going to shun them and be like, yo, yeah, the last version of baddie is religious woman or whatever. And that's an example.
I know.
Let's not make it about that. What I want to talk about is grace, right? Like a lack of understanding. I feel like inherently you have a lot of people that claim to walk a journey that they haven't even tapped into. And I think that's the thing, because it's like, if I'm going to say I'm walking into God's grace, bro, I have no baggage. And I have no business like outlining like, yo, this bag and this and this and this bag and this like, and I think it's also like there's a like you're just not getting it. You get me? Because it's like so much of what you're trying to go into is attached to so many. It's like it's attached to the same community of people that you're saying you're walking away from. So yeah.
Speaking of God, just holding that thought is so we're doing like a Bible study at work. At church. So we started a new year with a new topic of Bible study. And this year we are exploring God and who God is. What is God, right? First lesson or first Bible study session last week was about the Holy Trinity. God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And we were kind of like going through different concepts of like different schools of thoughts of what other people describe, interpret
the Holy Trinity.
Some people say it's three different individuals. Some people say it's like water. So it can be gas, can be liquid, it can be frozen, but it's still H2O in its element. But then God is everything all at once. So when water is frozen as ice, it can't be liquid, right? But if it's gas, it can't be liquid as well. It can be ice. Whereas God is all those elements all at once at the same time. So it's like the different elements that got me thinking about a lot of things. See? But then also, I guess the number 3 is
significant number.
It's a significant number, and in the Bible, I guess it's that completion of the Trinity. But if you think about like family, for example, like it's the man, the woman, and it's somewhat considered complete when there's a child or children. So 3 different types of entities that come together to create this unit. If you think about tiers of government, there's 3 levels as well. Like your judiciary, your legislature, and your executive. Now it's like, what other things have you noticed that are in 3s, that come in 3s, that just show completeness, that are complete in 3s, that make sense? I know, for example, if you want something to stand solid,
I hear you.
There's 3 different points that it has to have for it to. And so if like I have a structure like this, you create a triangle. It's 3 different points. It's most likely to stand because there's 3 different spaces that support it. But I'm interested, and I guess this is also a question to the untapped community. Like, think about that. Like, what are the things in life that come in 3s that just like are completion, are complete in 3s?
Because it kind of speaks to the significance of it at like a even fundamental level.
Yeah.
You hear me? Like a pyramid to a certain extent is representative of like a triangular type.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's a structure beyond comprehension. Is it like, hey, is it otherworldly? Did the aliens?
Yeah. Did people do build it?
So
or
3 is
aliens?
like,
3 is a very significant number. So I'm just putting it out there. Just look at things around
have
you.
people, God, family, and then community.
Communities gets represented by government, because that's community. That's us leading ourselves, right? In 3s. I guess in South Africa, at least, that's how it is. So, yeah, I'm just interested in that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Anything else, my dog?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really.
Okay, we have time today. Who's asking the question today?
I don't know.
The last person who asked was Jean. So
yeah.
we're starting a new year.
Last year, before the Christmas special, who asked? Because the Christmas special didn't have an ask per se.
Did we have an ask?
No gray areas.
Far back. I don't remember who asked.
You can go first this time around. Okay, but also I had a thought before we go into the question, maybe. Like, how do you feel, about, have you ever been in a situation where someone doesn't give you the full information, like the full story? Like,
you are opening up such a
because what I want to ask is, have you ever, like, how do you feel about someone omitting an important part of a story? You get me? Like if I make an example of my earlier chat around like the cops and everything, right? Part of the reason why the first cops left me is because this guy created this narrative that omitted important information about what was happening. And that was part of the reason why I was able to get the letter of demand. And the cops didn't want to probe that. So it's like with a friend where it's like maybe you just met someone. Say you met a guy, right? And I'm the only friend that knows that guy. Like I know I'm the mutual between the both of you. It's important for me that if I have information, let me not even make it up, but let me make it about Maureen. Like Maureen is a mess right now. Like I know for a fact. And I can come confront you and say, Maureen, it's not good that like you're related. Because perhaps you guys met at a games night at my house, but I'm like, Maureen, like don't pursue this. You know you're a mess, you're in therapy, all that. And I could even make the effort of telling him like, yo, by the way, that proceed with caution. Right? But I don't do that. For me, that's equivalent of a lie. Because you could feel safe in that but I didn't mention that.
Do you know what it's making me think of? Like back to, there's a conversation we had in one of our episodes about the truth and what the truth is, right? And we're talking about truth and fact, right? And it's like, the fact is not subjective, right? Fact. Truth, but people have their own truth. It's never.
But I think
we can debate it. We can debate
versions of the truth. Okay.
Versions of the truth for different people.
I feel like versions of the truth are perspectives. Truth is truth.
But truth is perspective. I think truth is perspective. But no, let's not get into that. Let's just work from the perspective of there's two different truths. Okay, maybe granted, two different perspective and the fact of what happened, right? It's like if the three thing that we're talking about, you have your thing and I have my thing. But then there's the fact. Sometimes not bringing the fact omitting the facts into a conversation causes a lot of drift. Because I'm coming from my own perspective and you're coming from your own perspective. And the third element that's supposed to be there, it's not there, right? So back to your question. I feel like you have an obligation to be honest and truthful and factual about situations. It can go as far as what you just said to me, or call on your friend who's omitting effect or truth and be like, yo, fam, you're supposed to just maybe make that known to that person, this is what you're going through, so that they can proceed with caution. Because maybe you're feeling uncomfortable with telling the other person, but you can call out your friend and let them know, you tell them. At least make them aware that this is what you're going through, so that when they do, things happen, it's a lot of that. But in general and in fundamental levels, I feel like omitting the truth is taking the third element of the Trinity or of the triangle that's supposed to make something stable. There's a lot of destabilization that would happen because you have omitted something. That's why something could be a crime, because you omitted to do something. If you had the responsibility to do something and you didn't do it, that could be a crime. You get what I mean? So I think Yeah, that's what I think. I think
Yeah, it's because
it's the
I say
same.
that all to say, like, people that purposefully omit information are very dangerous human beings.
I'll tell you this because one of my very close. I had a situation this week, and it was while I was having a conversation with my brother, and I was telling him like, "Yo, this happened to me, whatever," and he was telling me like, bro, like you have such a good personality. You like people. Your personality is like very out there, very warm. It's not like personalities no. And that was, yes, I had the same reaction.
Yeah, snake. Yeah.
I had the same reaction. But he was kind of saying that even if he's not doing anything, like even if he's not saying anything, because he's
Even
quiet.
if he doesn't have ulterior motives.
Even if he doesn't have ulterior motives. Because of the fact that he is quiet, he's a quiet person, like he's reserved, right? People just think,
snaky.
yeah, what is he thinking? Because they can't tap into what he's thinking. So they think, what is he sneaking around for?
What
like,
is he on?
What
Yeah.
is he on? What is it on? But that, there's people, but in reality, they move like snakes. And their personality types are just like snakes. That is very dangerous because the perception of somebody being a certain way and somebody actually being that way is different. Perception is, I look at you and I think, what's going on in Mesh's head? This one could kill you. This one, hey, wild. But the other
Mesh
person,
actually being capable.
Mesh actually being capable of killing you, that's dangerous. And I think that people that do that and omit facts and things into conversation, it's like that person is capable of a lot of things. When you're struggling and going through a difficult time and they have mushonga that could help you, but they don't tell you. They just let you go through. Fine, this person didn't do anything to you by doing something. They didn't actually do something.
Yeah.
But they omitted something that could
they have
save your life.
Yeah, they have access to information that could help you.
I could tell you a story. So I was watching Trash TV, Ndihayani, and there's a story that comes up on Moja Love, and it's called, it's about the truth. So basically the concept of the show is you have a secret and you want to come out to somebody and tell them that secret. The show comes in and facilitates that whole thing. So the show I watched when I was at home was this lady's a sister, right? Two sisters. The older sister's child passed away, right? And the older sister has been taking care of the child's children, struggling through it, just being like, these are my grandkids, right? Turns out that the mother thinks that the reason why her child died was because she was about to get married. They had bought a sheep or something, and then an animal that for those rituals that happen when you get married. See? And then that sheep, let's say for the purpose of this conversation, is a sheep. That sheep disappeared. It was stolen. And from that day, they couldn't get the people to come and negotiate the negotiations alobola because they didn't have the sheep, and the sheep is like instrumental. And the other family had bought the sheep for the family, right? So she never got married. So from that point on, she started getting sick and eventually passed away because doctors couldn't tell Urindimini. It was almost like she was going through it. You can imagine, right? This was supposed to be your big day and it just gets cancelled. Turns out the younger sister stole the sheep and ate it. Not stole the sheep, ate the sheep. Saw the mother struggling, had the older sister saying, yo, I think the reason why my child is going through this is because of this sheep. Busy advising the older sister, yo, just go see traditional healers. Maybe they'll show you what it is. When she knew this entire time where the sheep went. Through the process of her getting the child getting sick and whatever, dying to the point that she died or passed away, she knew and she didn't say anything. That is vile. That is snake-like behavior.
Yeah.
And it's a different thing to when you might think that Muomutu Mesh can do something like that. We're in the perception, right? Mara, I feel like people that omit facts, that person is omitting something that could save that person's life. That could.
Yeah. It's like when people tell you who they are, believe them. You know, it's like there are very little things that translate to other things. You get me? Like if someone is a compulsive liar, you know, can steal. You get me? Like there are things that you can relate to, like other things. This person if someone is ungrateful, then this person can be spiteful. You know, like they're just things you can like you can relate. It's like it's just obvious that this is what I get from this. But yeah, what's your question, Maureen? This was a very bitter episode.
Team.
Wasn't as sweet as I would have wanted it to be. So please make the question sweet.
Oh, I don't know what I want to ask you. I didn't think of a question. Let me see. What is the one thing that would make you feel that would just make you happy this year? Just this year. If you could do this one thing, or somebody does this, or whatever for you, what would that be for the year?
That's a very good question. Damn. There are a lot of things that I want out of this year, but at the top of it, I just want to make God proud. Ooh. You know, you want all these things, right? And the thing is, bro, you just want, like, there's just this one thing that you always just, like, that you're yearning for. You don't get it. You don't understand that that's all you want, but you just want to be of service and for God to just be proud, bro.
Yo.
So I just hope that I'm discerning enough to do the right things. And God is proud of that, bro.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's deep.
Yeah, I'm gonna add a clip from like a sermon I watched that just encapsulates that to a T.
Of Lords, the reason you're searching, the reason you're so desperate for people to recognize your gift, the reason you keep posting about all this stuff, asking for people to see you, is because your soul knows God is supposed to look at me and say, well done, my good and faithful servant. Your spirit knows it. It knows that no enough good jobs from anybody is going to fix it.
Yeah, that's all I want, bro.
That's fire. Okay.
I'm if I get an I'm proud of you, my good and faithful servant.
Ooh.
I
was actually talking to somebody about that yesterday.
I'm proud of you, and my good and faithful servant.
Can I just attach a story to that, and then I'll say what I want this year?
Yeah.
So yesterday I had like a committee meeting. I'm part of a church young adults committee at church, and we plan events. There's a specific event that we plan that happens twice a year. It's what you call it, a seminar, but you go away for like at the weekend, and the sermons, it's like a camp for like a week, but for young adults, right, 23 and above. And we go there, and I went to my first one in 2022. I've went to every other one since, because it's beautiful. It's wholesome. It's like everything. But there is a gent there that has been in the committee for a very long time. Very long time, and very successful at that as well. And I was having a conversation with my friend when we were driving back, and I was telling her like, yo, like I wonder what makes that guy, because I have a gripe with black men, and I was like, yo, that guy is like,
he makes things work. Like
he takes himself seriously, and like I was like, I feel like he's one of those people, but when he gets to God might be like, well done, my good and faithful servant.
Yeah.
Because he does a lot of work for the church, for the people that are part of the church, with no expectation to get paid or whatever. But he's also like a very successful person, which makes me think like a lot of successful guys would maybe be like, oh, I have work to do, I have businesses to do. But he's like,
what's that work? Like, I can talk about a lot of things. I can say I want this designation. I can say like I watched a video of Navalny where he's talking about credentialism, and he's like,
capable people don't let themselves be pigeonholed into one definition. And that is a disease of credentialism, because we created this university, and now you got to go to university and you got to get a degree in something. Then people say, well, what is your expertise? What is your credential? That's a question dumb people ask. Smart people don't ask that. Smart people don't need to know your credentials. They just talk to you for 5 minutes and they figure out if you know what you're talking about or not. And a really good person, a so-called natural philosopher, can be good in any branch of anything. Nature has no boundaries. Nature has no concept of mathematics versus physics versus chemistry. It is all one thing. And to anyone who's either meditated or done psychedelics or read enough books, they've figured that out. It's all one thing. When you find one thing, it connects to the next thing, connects to the next thing, connects to the next thing. And true creativity jumps boundaries. It can go from anywhere to anywhere. It doesn't have to follow a path of interconnections in between.
I mean, it's like smart people don't care about credentialism. They'll talk to you for 5 minutes and they'll figure out if you know what you're talking about. And Joburg is very popular for what do you do? And sometimes it comes from a good place, but many a time it doesn't. And when I'm asked that question from a bad place, I'll take you to interesting places.
So there's that.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'll actually back off of that and say that because I think that's a good one. But on a more easy surface level thing, I just want flowers, bruh. I want
Valentine's
flowers.
is sweet. I was watching that empty interview and he's like, I don't do Valentine's.
Next month is Valentine's coming up. Does Big Hustle celebrate Valentine's Day?
Hell to the no.
Oh,
To
why?
the no.
Valentine's is soon. Valentine's is coming.
Where's your voice?
Yeah, with that, peace out for the peace out.
Ah, fam.
Yeah.